Hey everybody, Life's Journey at 50 here. So what you're going to see here, as the title says, is we want to make sure that the GS Trophy for this coming year, the qualification and stuff like that, and hopefully for the 2026 team, that there is going to be a competition this year in the United States. There's a lot of rumor mill going on. There's a lot of speculation. Supposedly, there's a new CEO of BMW Motorrad in the U.S. There are thoughts about maybe they won't do the GS Trophy anymore. There's also been rumor speculation that they're going to change the formatting. What's that going to be? A lot of other countries right now have started the process for some of their competitions, but nothing's really been formalized either from the U.S., especially the U.S. side, and then the mothership out of Germany. There's been really nothing. Now, granted, it could be early on, but normally there's been some announcement about when this is going to happen or what roughly the dates are, that type of thing. So, Jeff Hoffer is the women's team, and she's a fantastic rider. So Jess has had a segment, some live stream stuff on Facebook with folks to interact with about the GS Trophy, and those that have participated, past trophy participants, folks that are interested, that are fans, enthusiasts, people that want to participate or volunteer at the event. I did a volunteering a couple of years ago, and obviously you guys have seen my videos. I'm planning on participating if they have one here, and so I hosted a Zoom, or Jeff hosted a Zoom, put together a Zoom for this, and you're going to hear some different discussion points. The meeting was an hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to slice it up, dice it up, kind of capture some of the key pieces. I might do a two-part on this, just so you guys get an idea, and also to let Motorrad know that there's a lot of enthusiasm around the GS Trophy, and although even the MOA might say that maybe 10 to 15% people really only take their GSs off-road, that 10 to 15% is very passionate about the adventure community, about off-road riding, about skills training, competition, those type of things. And I'm going to drop some pieces in there from stuff that I've videoed from different trials, competitions, and things like that to show the enthusiasm, and that we really want to have this, GS Trophy competition this year, and hopefully that will lead into the 2026 event, that there'll be a Team USA, men's and women's, and let us, the spirit of the GS right here on my hat, right? So again, Jess done a great job getting it together. Like I said, there's former trophy folks on here, former participants, and I think, just a little bit to give you guys a little insight on some of the background and some of the enthusiasm around the GS Trophy and what it means to a lot of people. So sit back, listen to this. Probably we'll do a two-parter on this because, again, the conference call lasted for about an hour and 45 minutes. I'm not going to put it all on here, but I'm going to try to grab the bits and pieces that I think are significant. Some of it's screen time. Some of you're going to hear, the background conversation. I'm going to try to mix in some video and pictures of folks throughout the competitions that I've been at, or at least from 2 years ago. And just give you guys a little bit of kind of what this is all about with the GS Trophy, especially here in the U.S. and what it means to a lot of people. So, all right, thanks, and let's get rolling.
I've been sick for a few days, so excuse my kind of... Awesome, thank you. We will get started then with the official recording.
Now it's really official, so watch.
I'll start this. Hi, my name is Jess Hofer. Yeah, it's official. I was on the U.S. team in 2023 with my teammate Emily. She couldn't be here tonight because she had a work obligation. There were a couple people who messaged me saying they couldn't make it, so they aren't here. I'm hoping we have a good number of people to pop in. Again, this is our more formal version of that video from last week. That was just to kind of garner interest, to see what everyone wanted to hear, wanted to I guess be interested in about the U.S. qualifier. And And really, I wanted to know where everyone's head was at, since we haven't heard anything from BMW Motorrad USA yet. And like there's other countries already have their qualifiers scheduled, or if you're Japan, you might have already held your qualifier. So it's like we're just kind of like anticipating some news, and hopefully like we'll get a schedule sometime soon. So Matt is here. Matt McCourt, Life's Journey at 50, if you follow him on YouTube. He is here. He's hosting this Zoom for me. And we have some slides we'll get through, and then I'll give everyone a chance to chime in about what's important to you about the US qualifier. So if you don't mind sharing those, Matt. Oh, also, I have I have Helmet Flare. As you guys know, I like my purple kitty ears that I use from Helmet Flare. I've got devil's ears and a banana that stick to your helmet or your daughter's helmet. Um, that I want to do a little giveaway at the end of this. I think it would be cool. Yeah,
Your,
you got like
your
closed
translator.
captions at the bottom.
Yeah,
Cool.
closed caption. Yeah.
Ah, well, thank you.
Mhm.
So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. I know there are a lot of curiosities about what is happening with the US qualifier. Again, I don't know anything. I am just here to give us a platform so that we can all speak about our interest in the qualifier, be it as a competitor, a participant, a volunteer, someone interested in adventure riding, someone that's trophy curious. I think it's just really important that we get this out there, that there is interest and that there is excitement, and we want to see this happen. So, um, if you can go to the next
Uh,
slide for me. So I'll kind of continue with what we're just going to talk about real quick. So that video from last week, if you didn't watch it, really it was just an informal get together, and there were a lot of opinions and people supporting that they really want to see this qualifier happen. And I think that's pretty important with the adventure riding community coming together. And I had this thought today that BMW has really been at the forefront of this adventure motorcycle riding from the beginning, and I think it would be kind of a shame not to lean into this part of the community. In the US. We have so much good writing here, and I think we have such good people who can be ambassadors of the sport. And the GS trophy, the qualifier is a big piece of that. Not to mention that if the performance center is involved, or we are at other dealerships and we have competitions that are leading up to the trophy, that there's a lot more involvement that we can really lean into and help BMW kind of encourage that organic growth in the community. And I think that's something that we honed in on a little bit on that in that video. Um, so I'd like to kind of move into I've had a cold, so I sound kind of weird. Um, and I really just want people to have this opportunity to say their piece. So I will have the introductions, everyone kind of introduce yourself, say what you want to say. I have some bullet points on that slide. Then we'll have an open forum kind of discussion, Q&A if anyone has any. Allow people to hop in that maybe are still at work or driving home. I've got my little helmet flare giveaway. We could do that. And then just a last little closing page to wrap up any notes. Like I just want to have some key takeaways that we can offer and go from here as a community. I think this is a really fun sport, and I'm just excited to be a part of it and glad that so many of you are here to share this. So we'll go to the next slide, please.
Listen.
Woohoo! Okay, introductions. Um, Welcome everyone. You keep popping in here. So we've got 21 of us in here. I would like to start with we have Scott Atchison here, who was on the men's team and competed in Namibia. I would like to start with you, Scott, and I just have some bullet points here that you could go off of and introduce yourself, and we'll just go
Cool.
through the list.
Yeah, I'm Scott Atchison. I was on the 24 trophy team. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm gonna kind of go off script here a little bit, Jess. So my view or my attitude towards the trophy itself, it changed once I participated in it. And I've had this conversation with Matt and Jess and Tammy. It truly is a world-class adventure ride put on by BMW. And the cost of entry is to be one of the better riders or at the qualifier to get to go on this trip. So yes, it's a marketing program. Yes, it's all the things that we're told, but above and beyond that, you get a really great experience riding adventure bikes sponsored by BMW. Um, I do have some different views now on the qualifier. I know what other teams went through to get qualified. There was a lot more media savvy with other teams. Other teams did their qualifier, like UK did it more like a day in the trophy where you rode X amount of miles and then it did a challenge, and then you rode X amount of miles, did a challenge, those kind of things. I don't know. I've had this conversation with Sean Thomas about how we could change this. I just don't know if it's feasible, given the size of the country, the United States, and trying to get everybody involved. So it's it's a really great opportunity for folks, and I hope they don't. BMW Motorrad USA doesn't decide not to participate in it. I'm not sure that was an English sentence, but I think it's just too good for this community. My plans for participation this year. Tammy wrote me into being on the board of directors for the foundation. So we're trying to figure out how the foundation can support training and efforts for folks leading up to the qualifier, then once they're qualified. So I want to participate as much as I can to help other people prepare for it. I think anybody that tries out for it, I know most of the riders are really good riders. It's just really honing those skills and being ready for game day is what it boils down to. As far as constructive feedback, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily constructive. I just know that if I could script it, I would make it a bigger opportunity for folks. I've had this conversation about how, why do certain countries win consistently? Why is South Africa up there? Why is Germany up there? Why is Japan up there? And I don't think it's necessarily the support, although it is. I think what it is they throw a much bigger net to get more people to try to qualify for the trophy. And then just by default, you get better riders or you get pushed to a new level. So, again, if, you look at like Team UK, they have a lot of riders try out for it. Those guys never rode together before the trophy. None of them had ridden a 1300 before they went to Africa, and they came in 4th or 5th place. So I don't think it's necessarily all the things we think it is, spending time together, all those things. I think it's let's get this a bigger net, so there's more people in this community that challenge us and push us. If the qualifier in 2023, if there would have been 600 riders there, it might have been a different outcome. I don't know. That's my only constructive criticism. How do we make it bigger and more available to more riders? I'll sit in and answer any questions. I'm glad to be part of this. I think it's important. I think there's some opportunities to, if for some reason, and I'm not being negative, but if it goes sideways, then let's figure out another way to get this community together, a US centric kind of thing that is bigger, and we get everybody involved in it. We get all the trainers, all the people to push towards one event a year or whatever it is. I think that could be really cool. A lot like what they do in Australia, where they do where they call it the GS Safari or whatever. So if you got questions, I'm here. I'd love to be here. Thanks, Jess, for inviting me. Hopefully I didn't stumble around too much.
You.
Sorry.
No, that was great. Thank you. And I think it kind of gets our gears turning a little bit. So, Charles, welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Do you think the size of our country and how far spread out we are is part of the reason? I mean, I lived in Germany. You can be anywhere in Germany in, 2.5 hours. Hop on the train, throw your bike on the back, and be at the main training center there. Do you think that how
Yes.
spread out we are, and just
Yeah.
pure numbers is what is making people not want to try out?
I
That's
think it's,
fear.
yeah, I think it's, I mean, think about it. When 2023, we had one tryout, it was in South Carolina. So if it had been the other way, if that tryout had been in Seattle, I wouldn't have gone. You know, logistically, it wouldn't have made sense for me to do it. Now we had folks represented from that coast, but you know, I think the size of our country, I think it does two things. The qualifier is challenging, and then you know, you talk to me, Billy or Kirk, we were always like, why aren't we involved in this? Why aren't we involved in that? Well, BMW Motorrad's probably not going to pay for the three of us to fly to Las Vegas or fly to um, Seattle or New England or whatever to go do an event. To your point, Charles, if you're in Japan, you're in Germany, you're wherever, those guys can drive to the dealership. They can, it's a 4 hour train ride or whatever. So I think there is some challenges with the size of the United States. I mean, I think minus China, I guess we were probably the biggest country that competed
But go ahead, Adam.
geographically.
That's awesome. Scott, man, I'm so glad you're here. This is so cool to hear you speak about this stuff. I was just curious about the post you made a little while ago about being involved with the trophy and specifically the bring home the trophy thing that you posted about. I don't know anything about that, and I'm just curious what that is and if that could help anything that's going on with as far as like what we're talking about here.
So the bring home the trophy. Again, I'll just go back real quick. When we qualified, I got with Tammy, I got with Ted Moyer, I got with the Performance Center to try to offset, quite frankly, maybe selfishly, to offset some training costs through the MOA Foundation. Once it kind of grew a little bit, we've decided to try to grow this program where we can help get trophy. I'll be careful. I'll say it, trophy level riders trained up to get prepared for the qualifier. And then once the team is selected, then we can help support them with some training, with some expenses for training. It's not going to be tires or clutches or anything like that. It's going to be a hotel if the Performance Center sponsors, you know, a couple weeks or a couple trainings. We got very fortunate. I'll give a shout out to the Performance Center. The 3 trainings we got to do at the Performance Center, they comped it to the team. So if you kind of think about how much money that would cost up and down the street, you know, that Aaron Rankin, that's a huge bonus for the team. We got to ride the 1300s, blah, blah, blah. But we're right now kind of in a holding pattern on this bring home the trophy, depending on which way if we go and we have a trophy team, then we're going to put the pedal down and try to figure out how to raise money and raise awareness to support the efforts. And quite frankly, Tammy and I have talked about it. If it doesn't happen, we're going to shift gears, but we want to stay focused on the adventure riding community and the folks that kind of want to push the limits of their adventure riding skills. That's to me, that's the direction we want to go with this. So
Thank you.
you bet.